Hi, today I want to talk about the difference between people with ADHD and scanners. Also I want to touch on subtle or not so subtle differences between polymath, Renaissance soul, generalist, and scanner. So, is it ADHD? If you're a scanner, you have probably been diagnosed by other people, probably some people with ADHD, which is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, as having ADHD. So ADHD is basically when you have difficulties in focus and attention and impulse control. So it happened to me a few times and I didn't like it. I have to admit, to be accused of having ADHD. I did a test and I don't have ADHD. And so what is the main difference? By the way, right now I see it as a compliment. I see just somebody likes me and they want me to be in their tribe, just like I want Naval Ravikant to be in a scanner's tribe. He did say once that he dives into some subject for a few months and then he's done and moves on to something new. So basically, the main difference is that ADHD is a neurological condition and being a scanner is more of a personality type. So basically, scanners are able to focus, but they don't want to. So I don't know how it feels to have ADHD. If you have it, please comment. I would like to learn more about it. But my impression is sometimes that people get medicated for ADHD just because they can't tolerate boring jobs. Because, for example, I've had an acquaintance who worked in a bank, but she's like a creative type, an artist, and I was thinking she was on medication for ADHD. But whenever I talked to her, I didn't notice any lack of deficit. She was a good listener. I didn't notice anything. So maybe because she was medicated, I don't know. But that's why I got that impression. And also many entrepreneurs have ADHD. So I don't know. Also talking to a few who are medicated, I got an impression that they do feel like they need medication. So they do feel that it helps them. So I don't think that a scanner would like to take medication for being a scanner, because we enjoy diving into different passions. There are overlapping traits between scanners and ADHD, which is why some scanners wonder if they have ADHD. Let's break down the differences between ADHD and scanners in more detail. So, if you simply enjoy variety, you love learning, you can manage your life well, you control your impulses well, you can focus when you want to, then you are likely just a scanner and you don't have ADHD. If you struggle with focus when you want to focus, and you struggle with your daily responsibilities, your time management, so you tend to be always late, then and if it affects your life negatively, then it might be ADHD. So if you get bored but you can't complete projects when you're interested, then you're likely a scanner. And if you feel that you can't function without a structure, that's more ADHD. Although I think I said a few times that I feel I need a structure, but for me it's more like when I have a deadline, then I really focus so easily. It's so easy to just ignore all the open tabs and just to ignore all the urges to go into some rabbit hole with some subject. So you just focus on the exam, on what I'm supposed to do for this deadline. So deadlines do help me as well, although I don't have ADHD. Let's now talk about the subtle or not so subtle differences between generalists, scanners, polymaths, and Renaissance souls. So this is not hard science, so take it with a grain of salt. By the way, it's not hard science, means it's not based on strict empirical data. It's based on more on observation, on subjective interpretation, rather than some measurable, repeatable experiments like in science. And also, you don't have to fit into one label completely. Many people they're like hybrids of these categories. So Renaissance souls or polymaths are similar to scanners in having multiple interests, but they're more likely to commit to mastering their skills. So they achieve significant results in multiple fields because they stick with it longer than scanners. They don't jump so much from one to the other interest or adventure like scanners or multi-potentialites do. By the way, scanners and multi-potentialites are pretty much synonyms. They are like contemporary terms as opposed to Renaissance souls and polymaths that have more historical context. Multi-potential is a term coined by Emily Vapnik, who has a TED talk about it. Scanners and multi-potentialists don't usually stick with one thing long enough to master it. And I mean, 10,000 hours is supposedly necessary to master a subject, and that's a long ass time. Yeah, sometimes we do, but even if we master something, we don't just want to do that, and like we want to also explore other things. So yeah, to scanners, exploration and variety is a priority and not mastery, like maybe for polymaths and Renaissance souls. Generalists are also people who develop broad range of skills rather than specializing in one field. But for example, they can be happy with a career and stay in one field for a long time, working, for example, a project manager who knows enough about different subjects so they can manage different specialists. And so generalists tend to be more successful professionally than scanners, and they're more structured. They're more structured and not so scattered across many unrelated fields like scanners. So, by the way, I've seen a video by Tim Ferriss, the author of 4 Hour Workweek, who said that he's a specialized generalist, and for him that means he focuses on a few specialized skills that are rare and valuable as a combination. So it's not about mastering many skills, but strategically blending a few skills to create a competitive advantage. He doesn't recommend specializing unless you can be the best or one of the best in your field, like he mentions LeBron in basketball. So he, for example, makes the career decision based on skills and relationships that can persist after the project ends. So even if the project fails, you have the skills and relationships developed during the process that can create future opportunities. All right, Renaissance soul are people with multiple deep interests who see life as an artistic journey of discovery. Yeah, so they're passion-driven, creative, closest to scanners. The classical example is Da Vinci. Polymaths, so polymaths are people who become highly skilled or expert level in multiple fields. That's the difference. They achieve significant results in multiple fields and those are normally intellectual fields. So polymaths are both Renaissance souls and generalists, but with exceptional expertise in multiple fields. The examples would be like Isaac Newton, who was great at physics, mathematics, and astronomy. Elon Musk, maybe, who said that he's an aspie, which means he's on the autism spectrum, on high functioning end of the spectrum. Now it's supposedly, at least in the US, it's not called Aspergers anymore. It's ASD, like autism spectrum disorder. And basically, they have a neurodivergent brain, so which is the opposite of neurotypical brain. So that's just brain that's wired not typically, differently, but ADHD also. People with ADHD are also neurodivergent. So they have a brain that's a bit differently, that's not typically wired. That's not wired like a typical brain. So specifically aspies, they are normally highly intelligent, they have deep focus, but in a way it could be said that they're opposite of scanners because they really stay loyal to their special interests forever. They stay within, so they master the shit out of them, and that's why they are normally pretty successful financially and professionally. And they often are good at the fields that most people are not good at, like STEM, like mathematics, physics, because they have this kind of brain, highly analytical, they're strong at logical thinking, pattern recognition, and so on. So they're good at physics, technology, engineering. So in a nutshell, we can see it all as a spectrum from like broad surface level exploration of scanners to deep multidisciplinary mastery of polymaths. So now the question that I want to touch on is, since generalists, let's say, are more professional, they have their shit together more, should scanners try to be more like these other categories, more focused? And the answer is, it depends how you feel and on your situation. For example, if you are really sleeping on a park bench because you're a scanner, then you would probably profit from trying to develop some specific skills that are marketable, so you can get a freelancing gigs or even jobs more easily. And so if you feel lost and scattered, if you are frustrated by constantly switching jobs and financial insecurity, which happens to me, I get frustrated, so I'm actually working on becoming more like a T-shaped, so going more deeply into one of my obsessions and interests and passions, which is design and art. I can focus and specialize in design. Like, don't ask me for more than that as a specialization, or just visual arts. That's as specialized as I can go. So I'll try to stay in that field, but I'll probably explore other things as well. So yeah, if you have an income source, a roof over your head, you're happy being a scanner, there's no need to change. So I think as scanners, if you want to be happy, and I think that's a wise goal, to be happy, I think it's important not to feel that pressure to fill out your potential, or not fill out, no, you fill out a form, fulfill your potential, then turn your talents into obligation, expectations from yourself, because it's better to just enjoy your talents and explore your interests, and that's enough. So you might be a multi-potentialite, as Emily Wapnick calls it, but you don't have to fulfill your potential, especially if it doesn't make you happy. So it's okay if it makes you happy, but if you're just stressing yourself and putting pressure on yourself, because there's no ambition without anxiety, and no anxiety without ambition. So it can lead to burnout, it can lead to even depression, maybe if you put too much pressure on yourself to use all your talents in a productive way. So I'm personally, I started recently setting certain goals for myself. Like for this channel, I want to make 50 videos. I know I'll probably be done with YouTube before I make 50 videos, but if I make 50, that's gonna be success for me. I will call that success, and then I'll move on to something else. So but I really would like to become an expert in something artistic and design related, because there is certain pleasure in doing something really, really well, being an expert on something. So I would like to experience that, and I will document my journey, and it's gonna definitely be an adventure. Okay, that's all I have for today. Bye.